after months of playing around with different operating systems, it's finally time for my Steam Machine build. Join me in a moment where I'll go through what I'm actually doing today. Hello and welcome back to Nelly's Nerd Cave. And this week, after 3 sessions or 3 different videos of looking at different Steam-based operating systems, it's 3 videos for you. It's like 3 or 4 months of research and playing around with these things for a little while to see which one actually works best for myself. We've looked at, over the past 3, Bazite, we've looked at Nobara Linux, and we've looked at SteamOS itself on a PC. Now, all those videos promised that I was going to do a build, and today is that build, and I am so excited to get this functioning and working. We're going to be first of all looking at what I'm going to put together. At this present moment in time, prices are high, and I'm having to pay for all these things myself, so it's taken a while to get all these bits and pieces together, but finally I've got them now. Whole stack of stuff here, but the motherboard is going to be the Aorus B550 Pro AX. It's a B550 board. It supports AMD Ryzen 5000 series CPUs. It's AM4 socket. It also runs DDR4. This is Mini-ITX, and it's a really good board. I haven't really used it yet, but I have done a bit of testing. Very small. It's one of the few times that I actually use a Mini-ITX board. Now, with this, I'm also going to need the Wi-Fi for later, because I'm not using wires. I shall be using Wi-Fi to be able to connect everything up. So that is my motherboard. Now, most people build directly on the motherboard box. I have a nice trusty mat here that's quite good and soft, so we'll pop that down there out of the way. Now, to accompany this particular board, I'm going to be pairing this with something a little bit better than what the Steam Deck has in it. The Steam Deck has a processor that's 6 cores, 12 threads. I'm going to install the Ryzen 7 5800X. This has 8 cores and 16 threads. So a few more and a little bit better than the actual Steam machine itself. This is a brand new processor, as you can tell. But the unfortunate part is it's just a processor. It doesn't even come with the wonderful cooler that you normally get with these. So to be able to install this, as normal, lift up the little arm, and then we're going to pop in our processor. Yay! So excited for this build. Make sure it goes in the right way, Neil. Fab. So now we have our motherboard and processor combo, which is really nice. This is now going to be paired with a cooler from Thermalright. Now, this is the Thermalright Classic. It's the AXP90X53. Basically, it's got a 90mm fan. That's the 90. And the X53 is how deep it is. The case that I've chosen, which you can see behind me, seems to be quite a popular case for making these types of things. I didn't know that until I bought it and then found loads and loads of things looking at this particular case. But it only has a maximum clearance of around about 70mm. So 53 is big enough. I don't know what the cooling's going to be like for this. It's a teeny tiny little cooler. And it comes with all different types of brackets and bits and bobs and stuff like that. But all I care about is the cooler itself. And compared to other coolers, it seems ridiculously small. We're also used to looking at 120mm fans, etc. So with this particular one, like I say, it's got a 90mm fan on the front. It is 53mm deep, and this one is a little bit weird because you have to install it from the top into the bottom. Now you do that with, as always, wonderful little bits. Now with this one, we have to use the back plate that comes with the motherboard. You don't have to, you can use it without, but there's all the little SMDs on the back of the board are very, very, very close, and there's lots of little bits of copper showing through and touch points for testing, etc. It does say in the instructions that you don't have to use the bracket they provide, you can use this, so I am going to use the actual bracket that originally came with the motherboard because it just makes perfect sense to do that. Don't forget the little sticker. I always forget this little sticker, and it does so annoy me that I always forget because I'm a moron, as I've said in previous videos. So again, yeah, get rid of the little sticker off there. Put your thermal paste on, nice blob in the middle. And then from the top, you have to install this. It's a little bit strange because the back plate on this particular board keeps falling off. And the screws are actually thin, so they'll go straight through this, which is pretty cool. Please don't break. Uh-oh. Yeah, there we go. And it sits nicely, and then you get some little nuts with this that you then stick on each of these posts. And I'm still not able to put these on. There we go. And then you get a special little tool. And this little tool allows you to tighten all these little nuts up that you've just put on. Now, it does say use a screwdriver to actually tighten this. I'm not going to. I'm going to do it finger tight, purely and simply because you can never tell if it's too tight or not. So I'm just going to go finger tight until it feels comfortable. Opposite corners as well. And there we go. Pop this back in a bag so I don't lose it, just in case I need it again. Plug in the fan. I'm also going to take the cable here, and I'm going to tuck it just underneath here so that it's a little bit tidier and neater. There we go. So next up, memory. We all need memory, and memory's it's Ramageddon still. This I've had for a long time. This is Corsair Vengeance RGB Pro. You're not going to see the RGB. I don't even know why I have it, because most of my RAM doesn't have RGB on it. But this is a 32GB kit running at 3200 megahertz. So it's pretty quick. It's not too bad. I thought it'd be absolutely adequate for this build. So I shall be popping this in. Why not? It's not too bad. Each stick is 16 gigabytes, giving me 32 in total. So let's pop these in. So with that, that's 32 gigs of RAM. One thing before we move on, I am going to be putting in 2 terabytes of NVMe storage. This is a Western Digital Black SN750. 2 terabytes because why not? Again, I've had this a while, so it's kind of like been sitting there gathering dust, so why not stick it in here? I had to upgrade my Steam Deck to 2 terabytes because it's just not enough for gaming today. And this is really weird because you've got this great big metal chunk on here, and I don't even think it touches the heatsink of the NVMe, because then you take the NVMe off, or the NVMe cover, and it's a heatsink in itself. So you've got a heatsink with a heatsink that has a gap on the heatsink, so they don't touch. So how, I don't really understand. I think this is designed more for double-sided boards more than anything, or double-sided NVMe drives. So let's pop that in there like so. Remember to peel the little sticker off the back of the thing itself. Pop that in there, pop that down there, and there we go. That bit's in. Put this back on to make it look pretty. Fabulous. And now we are all set to pop this in a case. Now, I shall just clear this. The case I have chosen is the Fractal Ridge. I've seen loads and loads of people use this at the moment, and I didn't realise it was going to be this popular. So yeah, I have already had this open a little bit, but the box seems to have a mind of its own, and it just flaps around all over. So I resealed it. I have already been in this. So we've got, this is a weird little stand that you've got, and all the screws for the case, which I'm going to need. I don't want the stand, so this is going to sit in a TV cabinet under my telly. Obviously, TV cabinet, telly. And I'll show you what I've done shortly to cover sitting and proud, so that it can then have enough ventilation throughout the system. But this is the case, the Fractal Ridge. Sorry, I'm just going to have to put this down. That best still work after I've just dropped it. Okay, the Fractal Ridge. An absolutely beautiful case. Has a wonderful front on it. It can be sat this way or this way. It doesn't really matter. It comes apart really easy. The front's magnetic to make it simple and quick. There we go. Lots and lots and lots of space. You've probably seen these a million times, so you don't need me to go through it. It's very simple to take apart, and I love the fact, absolutely love the fact, that it comes with 240mm fans. These two 140mm fans actually cover the area where the GPU sits. It comes with a GPU riser card already, which is already part and parcel of this. But what I have done is I got this and I thought, there's a space there for some other fans. And you think that 90mm fan's small. These are Arctic Silent Slim PWM fans. They're 80mm. So these are P8s, and I've got 3 fitted into the back of the actual thing itself, just to give some sideways cooling across the actual case itself, as opposed to just up and through as an updraft. You have a wonderful space for your power supply, you have all your cables, etc. And let's move into installing this. Now, to install your motherboard, we first have to remove this crossbar. And again, I've seen some videos mention the crossbar, other videos not mention the crossbar, so it's a little confusing when you first get the case and you think, what am I supposed to do? So you remove this crossbar, and as part of this crossbar is a riser card which goes to your X16 slot. take our motherboard. Let's pop this in. I can see an issue straight away. So what you probably can't see that I can is I've got the motherboard in. I can't get to the 8-pin supplemental power port. So that brings me nicely to the power supply I'm going to use. The power supply, if I remember where I've put it, is going to be the NZXT C850 SFX Gold. An SFX power supply. It's small, it's mighty, and it's really cool. It's one of the smallest power supplies I've ever used. It's 850 watts. Look how small this thing is. Either that or my hands are ginormous. It's fully modular, and we can add whatever we need on there. So yep, it's absolutely fully modular. I love the attention to detail they give with their purple bag that matches their colouring of their brands. So what am I going to need? Supplemental power. Don't need this bit just yet. What I do need, that's PCIe. That one is your 24 pin. CPU power. Fantastic. So let's get you plugged in, otherwise I'm never going to be able to plug you in again. And let's put you in there. Fabulous. Couple of screws, nice long power cable, and I think we're done. I will leave out the 8-pin and the PCIe because I will need those in a bit. Don't need the rest.
Moments later.
Oh, there we go. Fantastic. Alright, so next up is the power supply, and you next have to take out this wonderful bracket here. 4 little screws. Remembering exactly where you put all those screws. Then I think this should just come out like that. Yay! So let's pop you to one side for a moment. Here is the power supply bracket. So we get a small power supply. And what I notice about these, which is really, really weird, is a giant full-size ATX power supply has 4 screws on the corner. A teeny tiny SFX one, which is like nearly a third of the size of a full-size one, has 6 screws. Why? Why do we need 6? I'm sure somebody will be able to answer. Comments. Will be all gratefully received. 6. Why do we need 6 on a small power supply? It's so small. I'm going to populate all 6 anyway, so nobody panic. It's going to be all 6 used. If they're all there to be used, then they're going to get used. Final screw. Pop them to one side. Get my case back. I think I have to shuffle this out of the way a little bit, because that is a pass-through for your power. Okay, make sure it's the right way round. Make sure everything is out of the way. There's actually space under there, so you could potentially put a controller of some kind in it. Now, if you've got RGB in a case that you can't see into, makes no sense if you're going to put RGB in a case like this. I know I've got RGB RAM, but that's what I had access to. So that's what I'm going to be using. I'm not going to see it. I don't care about it. I am not fussed. Should be a bit better. Should then be able to see that this one fits into the CPU side. Making sure to click it all the way in. We should have 24 pin. Let's make all this tidy. Keep everything so that airflow moves through. Wow, this is such a small space, it's ridiculous. Why did I decide to build in this? Am I mad? Maybe I am mad. There we go, that's in there. So again, this needs to be routed nicely so that it can then plug in to this one here. I don't think these cables were supposed to bend this way. Let me unplug the supplemental power. Then I can get to this one easier. That one goes there. That one goes there. This one goes there. Excellent. Let's try and coax these into a particular way so that I can close the lid comfortably without destroying anything. There we go, fantastic. Plug in power. Wow, this is proper tight. Right. And I've just noticed I've screwed in the power supply the wrong way. So again, if you look at this, you can see that I have my power there, but also that's that way round. Notice where the bottom pin is. If I flip that up, it's not going to fit, and if I flip it this way, it's not going to fit, so I have to take this out and do it all again. One moment, please.
More moments later.
Alright, so after that little issue, you can now see that the power plug actually plugs directly in. Yay! And now it works. Or it should do. There we go. Let's make sure the power is actually switched on. Because I know what these are like sometimes. Brill. Right. That is all this messed with. So, let us pop the top back on. And let's screw this top back on. Okay, so, next up, back with this bar. Now, you have to fiddle about with the cables by the looks of it, and you have to move things around so that you can get to the PCIe slot. Guide it into the slot. Hopefully that's all the way in. It looks like it. Let's not pinch any wires, Neil. There we go. Those 3 screws that you took off before, find them, put them in the right places. And what I'm going to do is, next is the graphics card. So mine is a 2 and a bit slot card. It's one that you've seen on the channel before. It's the Sapphire 9060 XT. It has 16 gigabytes of GDDR. Amazing card. Absolutely fantastic. It's what I'm going to bang in here. This is RDNA 4, so if you've watched my previous video on SteamOS, because it's SteamOS, if you need to use SteamOS, what you need to do is make sure that you run the beta, otherwise it doesn't function. But before you can even install this card, there's this wonderful blue packet in here, and in this blue packet is a little riser. That's it. We pop it in here. It says, not being able to find it. Maybe I should have done this first. Who knows? Ah, there we go. Easy. Comes with a really convenient little lid on the top to stop the prongs actually getting damaged or anything. Then we take our card. Now before we install our card, we need to make sure power is plugged into it. Here's one I prepared earlier. So make sure that you have all your power plugged in and it all functions correctly. There we go. In it goes. So then what we have to do is we have to kind of jiggle this around a little bit, because you have to put it in at a slight angle. It does say you could take all this top off, but this card should fit. You can only take this top off if it's a giant card where you know full well that you're going to have to struggle to get it in. And because you can see the riser, it makes this so easy. For some strange reason, that's bent. But it's not now. There we go. Come on. See, it's a bit of a faff. You have to mess around to get it in. Like so. Yeah, that's it. Wonderful. Then we can tuck these wires in, making sure that they don't clip any fans, because the last thing you want to do is to clip fans and it just be stupidly noisy and loud. We then screw these screws back in, and there you have it, all ready to go. Other than the front panel, all set. So what I like to do before we even do anything is make sure it boots. Where is the thing? Here it is. So let's go. USB. HDMI. Yes, I'm using HDMI because it's going on a telly, on a TV. So I need to check that it functions alright. Power. Okay. Ooh, don't know if you can see this, but the RAM has lit up, because that now means that we have active power. So let's find the power switch on the front. Oh. Something's catching. And now it's stopped. Are we going to get to a boot? Let's see. It looks like it is. Come on. Please do it. Yes, a beep. That means we're going to boot. Little LED. It's AMD, so it trains memory at least twice. And we have a boot. Yay! Right, unplug this, because we're absolutely fine. We booted, we're working. Yes, fantastic. So just need to kind of tidy up a few of these cables then, which I will do off camera.
One eternity later.
Okay, to the final part of this then. So There is a stand on there, and what I want to do is I want to stand it flat as opposed to upright like this is. But I don't want to use their stand out because I don't think there's enough airflow going about. So I came across some wonderful things on Amazon. Little feet that you screw into the actual case itself through the holes and the perforations on the bottom. Yeah, so through these things. Hello, you can see me. These were £35 for 4. I have a 3D printer, and it just so happens that these were unprintables. They're exactly the same things, and they cost me 50 pence to make. Please don't buy them if you can print them yourself. It comes with all the little washers and all the other little bits and pieces that you actually need. You need, I think it's an M, I think it's 2 or 3 or something like that. Where are you? Oh, a tool case full of tools, and I can't find a one. Oh wait, I'm sat here. That one, I think. It is. So yeah, you got a little screw, and you pop a washer on the top, and then you kind of got to work out where you want to put them. I think I'm going to put them in each corner, to be honest. You then pop this through where you can get it, which is, it's almost right. Then there's like this wonderful little thing here that's got a lip on, and it just makes it look a bit tidier, I think. Let's go. So yeah, I'm not paying 35 quid for something that I can make myself, thank you. This is just going to be so much better. And to be honest, if you look at how this is set out, it's probably going to look a little bit like a stereo or record player or something of like that in particular. So it's going to look pretty cool once it's done. It's got the little feet, it's got little washers, not just to protect the case but also to spread the weight. Yeah, that looks alright. I think they're going to look pretty cool. And then once you see it sat down, it's going to look so much better. So again, I think you get something like 20 mil airflow with the feet that come with the case. This looks like it's going to give you at least 30 or 40 mil. A little bit better as far as the amount of air. We want our computers to run as cool as possible. This will then make it look like it's kind of floating as well, a bit like a stereo should. I just think it's going to look sick. I really shouldn't have screwed these screws in first, should I? I should have just put them on. Right, that one goes there. And these holes make it really easy to kind of key them in, so that then they're all in the same place. They all look pretty. Because I think it would drive me absolutely insane if they were not in the same place because I've had to drill them. I'd rather they be in the right places because I'm not good with a drill. So yeah, that's them on. Yeah, that's better. Perfect. Then when you sit it down, it sits like a little stereo. It looks pretty cool. And one final test for the boot. let's see if this actually works all the way through to the operating system, where I will tell you which operating system I have picked. And let's switch this baby on, it's over here. So the operating system that I have picked looks absolutely beautiful, does this. I thought because I'm very familiar with my Steam Deck, etc., I would just put SteamOS on here. I know that for some people SteamOS isn't really suitable for this type of machine, but they are working on getting it working with full computers, so I am kind of just going to run it and see how it goes. I do have a controller which should work because it's got a little dingle dongle in here which I can plug in the back. Let's see if it works and functions as it should, but it looks absolutely amazing, and this is going to sit under my TV and play games. And that's all I'm going to do for the next 6 months. So, there you go. It's absolutely fully functional. Counter-Strike. It's not installed, so I can't do that. It'll take a while to install. But it's fully functional. If you've enjoyed this video and you wish to leave a comment, please do so below. And please don't forget to like, subscribe and click the bell button for all notifications. And until next time on another build, this is Nelly's Nerd Cave. I'll see you later.